earlier today, we ended up getting an 11.4 gigabyte update for Xbox One as well as PlayStation 4, in which this was update 1.17 with a ton of stuff involved. For PlayStation 4 users, everybody can jump in and take advantage of everything right now, but for Xbox One, it kind of sets the stage for what's to come, and of course, everything is time-gated so that as of next Tuesday, you'll be able to jump in along with PC users as soon as 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time rolls around. But this update was largely in part focused on Operation Spectre Rising, the brand new operation within Black Ops 4 that, again, is live now for PlayStation 4 users. So today, we're going to break down absolutely everything this update changed, everything that's brand new, some of the things that came along with it, and what all it means for the future. So first things first, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What are you looking forward to jumping into the most? Are you looking forward to playing as Spectre, maybe playing the new Blackout map, looking forward to getting your hands on some new reserve content or whatever it may be? Let me know your thoughts, and of course, all throughout the week, we're going to be breaking down a ton of stuff within the brand new operation and also Black Ops 4, so if you're interested in any of that, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button to stay up to date with daily content here on the channel. But that said, let's just jump into it. When you first finish downloading and copying the update, you can then jump into it and you'll see that you're met with a brand new loading screen. Nothing too out of the ordinary here. This happens with every single operation so far, and of course, when you get to that main menu, that's where it's a little bit different as well. We see our front panels of the Map Pack Mosh Pit, League Play, Bounty Hunter Quads, and Super Blood Wolf Moon. Additionally, we also have new Black Market and store icons, but those are more so just for the design again. Let's start this out by taking a look at each individual thing now at this point. On the MP front, again, you have some new tabs on the bottom once you enter into that. The Extras tab is new and now relates to the new ability for gestures in the lobby. So you can now emote in Blackout, MP, or Zombies lobbies by holding down the right trigger and also scrolling over and selecting with X or A when it comes to Xbox's update to actually use that emote. From here, you can customize those emote and gesture wheels. In the Specialist tab, you'll be able to locate your uniforms and such, just like before, but that was something brand new, and as well, Scorestreaks and Create a Class are all the same. Talking Specialist, though, we also end up having Spectre now available, of course, with Spectre Rising. That's the focal point here for the MP end. And a little bit about Spectre, again, briefly detailing this. You have your smoke as your tactical equipment. This allows you to see enemies through smoke digitally outlined, and it definitely can be a big help. Also, a fun fact, this doesn't actually need to be your smoke. I found that through my teammates' smokes, I also was able to see whenever I was Spectre, I could see those enemies digitally outlined. Now, I can't imagine this does the same for enemy Spectre smoke grenades, but I haven't entirely had a chance to sit down and test out all the intricacies just yet. The Shadow Blade is the lethal you end up getting with this, and it's a ton of fun to use. The mobility it grants, you can then end up dodging, rolling, and so on and so forth, and having that mobility boost into it, and also, the third-person perspective is definitely cool to mess around with. The blade itself is deadly, and when it comes to close proximity, you get that sort of aimbot-looking box effect that you end up getting with Sparrow's Hawk as well, basically telling you that they're locked on. There's also some customization that we can end up seeing with Spectre already, but we'll get to that part in a second. The Map Pack Mosh Pit is the featured game mode, and it's a sweat fest, but this is where you'll end up being able to play the brand new MP maps of Artifact, WMD, as well as Masquerade. Now, that said, I haven't had as much time under my belt to get things truly up to that next level of understanding to dominate the maps just yet, but Masquerade in particular really bugged me earlier. There's one spawn in the back of that even in TDM is a ridiculous spawn trap. Like, you cannot move out of that, and if one person pushes, it'll flip, but other than that, they will not. So these maps aren't particularly my favorite. Maybe they'll grow on me, but the first honeymoon phase, I think I'm okay kind of backing away from those ones. Outside of that, though, talking weaponry, we end up having the brand new weapons of the Nifo Odi, probably going to butcher that pronunciation, as well as the Tiger Shark LMG available at tier 25 and tier 50 respectively. The melee isn't anything tremendously special, but the Tiger Shark, that's actually worth going for, I think, in this Contraband stream. It's touted for its faster than normal reload and mobility, and it does feel pretty good. It might not be the Titan level of versatility, but you'll definitely see more use out of this one compared to, say, other weapons from other operations like maybe the Rampage or the Switchblade. Outside of that, though, we did see some weapon tuning. That SMG tuning pass was the big part here of this. We ended up seeing the weapons of the GKS, the MX-9, the Daemon, the Switchblade, the SOG 9mm, the Cordite, and the Spitfire being changed here at this one. For the GKS, we ended up seeing an increased 5-shot range from 5 meters to 7.5 meters. Now, from the looks of all of this, it seems like all weapons mentioned had this as their base in some capacity of a buff to the range. Some will have more than others, but we'll breeze through this as quick as possible to make the really meticulous stuff as painless as possible. The MX-9 got a range buff by 0.5 meters and also a slight damage increase to that 5-shot kill damage. The Daemon now can be a 5-shot shot kill. It was not able to be before, and then increased all the ranges subsequently after that. The Switchblade had an increase to all of its ranges as well, which you'll see on screen. The SOG 9mm only had this stock 2 attachment adjusted, in which it slightly reduced the move speed during the ADS. The Cordite for consoles only. PC is going to have something different, presumably. That increased all of the ranges again. The Spitfire, as well on consoles only, increased that range as well. There was also a miscellaneous change that closed an exploit where players could fire faster than intended from sprint by starting a slide, then immediately firing. That was something that was actually pretty relevant because of the Pro League. A lot of players were doing that. That's been readjusted and no longer is there, apparently. Then we end up seeing that we have a couple of specialists changed around. Nomad, Ajax, and Torque all had their cooldown times for their specialist equipment increased so that they take a little bit longer to get. Ruin ended up having the Grav Slam kills no longer feed its ability meter to be consistent with other specialist weapons, and Firebreak's reactor core kill notifications now take up less on the screen. Scorestreaks had a little bit of an adjustment as well. We see that the UAV had its duration increased to 30 seconds, as did the counter UAV. The drone squad ended up getting its damage increased for lead and buddy drones. The minimum and maximum burst fire times increased it for lead and buddy drones, and also the drone clip size was also increased. The Mantis had a reduction in the amount of time that it can temporarily be disabled, and also an increase to the damage threshold for temporarily disabling the Mantis. Now let's jump over to the black market. Let's talk about some of these updates here, because there was a decent amount of things that was updated. We end up firstly seeing that there is the brand new 50 tiers available, live and able to be unlocked for the next 35 days. They're splitting up this operation into 2 halves, so you'll end up seeing another 50 introduced after those 35 days. Presumably this is going to be refreshing with Days of Summer, but it's just the halfway point at that. You end up still having the ability after that to get reserves, so if you're worried about that, don't worry. 51 through infinity ends up giving you reserves. It'll just refresh out in 35 days. But of this, we end up seeing 36 items that are stickers, calling cards, reticles, face paints, 6 uniforms, 4 emotes or gestures, 2 weapons, 1 jump pack, and 1 specialist. I'm going to be discussing this all at full length tomorrow, among other things, but I'm tremendously bummed out about this first split, if I'm honest with you. Splitting up the content provided the possibility that we'd have 2 really strong showings for the content in this operation at large, such as that you could eliminate stickers, tags, and face paints and replace them with cooler items like 2 to 3 weapons per half, new camos, new reactives or mastercrafts, and we got a total of 0 camos in the entire 50 tiers. 0. But again, I'm saving my larger discussion for this as a whole until tomorrow. Today is just about the facts so that you can utilize the information to make your own informed decisions. So moving along, outside of just the Contraband stream, Blackjack shop introduced us to a few more items that are brand new. We have firstly the Oathkeeper, which is a static camo available for all weapons. It's pretty cool looking if you ask me. This one's available for 300 COD points. You have the Venom Cocktail Hades Mastercraft available for 1,000 COD points. This thing looks really cool, and even though I don't necessarily use the Hades, I'll still have to do it for Dark Matter. It piques my interest for sure. It comes with a Mastercraft, an emote, a sticker, and a calling card, again all for 1,000 COD points. You also have the ability to end up getting a new Spectre uniform available. That's the ninja outfit. This is seen from the key art, and also it's one of the sickest skins I think we've seen in the game so far. I'm not much for an MP uniform guy, but this one is definitely sick. It's 800 COD points. It's there if you guys want to check that out. We also have the ability to get the dance bundle, which is 3 emote dances for 500 COD points. I don't see that one worthwhile at all. And then finally, shop-wise, we have the Misty Special Order, who is a bundle for 1,000 COD points that comes with an emote, some transit customization items like a tag and calling card, and finally Misty. These, as with all the special orders, will also require you to rank up those tiers to unlock them with time, but they are available there if you guys want to check that out. Also, this event looks to carry over that 5% tier boost with each special order, but of course it did reset anything you had from last operation, so you can now work your way up to a total of 25% once again. As for reserve items, well, here's the unfortunate part. As you'll see in the trailer in the background, reserve contents were refreshed, and the best parts are again on RNG chance. There's plenty of items like signature weapons for the Switchblade, the Rampage, the Spitfire, and the Vapor, cool new camos like the Afterlife returning from Black Ops 2, along with other things like the SDM Mastercraft and the Chrysalis camo, new uniforms, new jump packs, and so on and so forth. But the best part, they're all separate, meaning that for camos, even reactive camos, charms, death effects, and so on, you have to get them for each weapon you want to use them on. So here we thought we'd end up having only 3 death effects. That's actually going to be multiplied by 30 weapons or so, and you now have roughly 90 new items flooding that loot pool, and that's just from those death effects. You thought we were done there? Well, there's about 5 to 6 cool camos that got added in, and again, multiply that by 30, and wow, it is really muddying the loot pool. I'm honestly half excited to see what data miners can pull out of this when the PC update goes live, so we can see just how exponentially out of proportion this has been blown. Because from 550 items through 3 events, I bet you it added at least 200 more items in just with this operation because of how many things are broken up. I opened up 183 reserve cases that I had saved up from about the halfway point of Grand Heist to the end. I got nothing new of value. I got a few new Operation Face Paints, but that was literally it out of nearly 200 reserve cases. But again, that's a discussion for tomorrow. Those are your reserve and black market changes, though, that were added in today. As for Blackout, old man Frank Woods is available as a Black Ops Pass character. Definitely going to be a main on Uncle Frank here in the upcoming days to weeks. If you have the Black Ops Pass, you can redeem him now. But outside of that, we ended up seeing that we had some Alcatraz adjustments, or actually, might be curiously enough, that it was also taken out. Blackout ended up having various environmental updates and mantling improvements to aid player traversal in Alcatraz. Also, the Lighthouse Foghorn sound effect at the end of each wave spawn has a delayed timer, and it addressed a few exploits. But that said, Alcatraz actually isn't in the game right now. It only comes down to the brand new mode, which is Bounty Hunter, which is a lot of fun, but we don't see that Alcatraz also in there on top of that. Bounty Hunter is admittedly a lot of fun. This is that featured game mode that we have currently. This is something you can drop in and find the beams of light that are denoted as purple beams of light. There you'll end up seeing Spectre stashes that will give you level 3 armor, smoke, stealth-related perks, trauma kits, and of course, that Shadow Blade that everybody wants. When you equip the Shadow Blade, you can actually still have a secondary weapon as well, but when you pull out that Shadow Blade, it brings you into third person, gives you that extra mobility boost, and also allows you to end up rolling. And when you're trying to outrun the zone or something, this is tremendously helpful because you can just continuously roll. And it looks pretty funny from afar, but it's actually really practical from traversing the map. It is definitely a pain to play against somebody that is Spectre because the mobility is so quick and agile. So you're definitely going to want to be on your toes and, of course, take the engagements from either mid to even long range if you possibly can. But drop in with your squad, take a look at this. With each new collapse, players with the most kills will be marked as bounty targets as well that Spectre can only see. It's got a little bit of an arrow or crosshair icon by your name if you're marked, and also you'll end up seeing them as Spectre on the map denoted, so you have an idea of where players are around. Now here's the thing, if you end up either killing the person that is a bounty or you end up surviving that wave as you being the bounty, there's going to be a supply drop called in on your location. It's automatically dropped wherever you were at the end of that, so you don't have to use a flare or anything to mark it. Just be conscious of that if you're waiting for it. You might be outside of the safe zone, so it might drop actually in the collapse. Bounty hunters can also perform unique humiliations on downed enemies. I haven't played around with this that much, but definitely sounds pretty cool. And again, it comes down to just simply being the last team standing. All of this takes place on the brand new Wetworks map update where Hydro Dam was blown up. You end up having things like Hydro Dam, Factory, Cargo Docks, Hijacked, Farms, and all that kind of stuff slightly altered or completely altered. Cargo ends up having all the cargo containers actually spewing throughout the water on that entire coastline. You can end up seeing them go almost all the way up to construction, not quite up that way, but it is still something they travel quite a distance from cargo. Then you have things flooded where other things like boats can end up taking advantage of those new waterways. You're going to end up being able to hear your enemies a lot easier and so on and so forth. So the new map is definitely a lot of fun. Play around with that and jump in and check it out. The only other thing that came out of this is the dart was added in now, and also there was a bit of weapon tuning. You end up seeing the Mozu and the VKM as well as the Hades ended up having some adjustments as well. The Mozu had to change the close range damage that was increased, as well as the headshot multiplier was increased. The VKM had a reduction in its recoil, also added additional recoil during the first 4 shots, so kind of balances out there a little bit. But then also the 4x scope is replaced with the 3x scope on the kitted out or gold versions. The Hades had a reduction from the number of hits to kill from 6 to 5. It increased the max damage range and also again replaced that 4x scope with a 2x scope on the gold versions. And the very final last thing here in Blackout that was adjusted was that the mesh mines had some increased visibility by adding a little bit more visual effects on them so you could spot them a little quicker. World League Hub had a few smaller adjustments, but also the big part here out of this was the match leave penalties, where players will have those more severe bans whenever they end up leaving each match. As for zombies rounding out everything here at this, there was again a lot of stuff on the smaller end, but also some stuff to add in and talk about from a top top-down perspective. Of course, as always, I'll leave a link down there in the description below to the full-on patch notes if you guys want to take a look at any of the more nitty-gritty stuff and the more back-end things as well. We end up seeing that Dead of the Night had that brand new gauntlet added in. We see that being called the Super Blood Wolf Moon. The Tiger Shark LMG was added to the mystery box. The classic elixir restock feature now places a classic elixir into an empty elixir slot. There are improvements to the Winter's Whale perk. Then, for weapons only available via the mystery box, it halved the weapon camo kill requirements for those, and also added a various number of gameplay improvements for a lot of the locations in the game. So, ultimately, that is everything here that changed with update 1.17 and subsequently Operation Spectre Rising. So, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Is there anything in particular that you're hopeful for that maybe is added in the future that you really liked out of this update, or maybe you're not so happy with? I know my big thing is still that brand new Contraband stream and some of the ways they've handled the new customization items in the black market, but I digress. Again, that is something we'll talk about at a later point. But love to hear your thoughts down there in the comment section down below. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to drop a like down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Black Ops 4, MP, Blackout, Zombies. We got you covered to the best of updates, news, information, tips, tricks, all that good stuff. So if any of that interests you, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. You guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram. Those are the best places to get connected outside of YouTube. I can live on both those. So if you guys want to check out a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. Well, let's head out of the way. Thank you guys all so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.